Give me the edge, though. You know, round of applause. Okay, so we're all educators, right? So of course, given my opening, I need some constructive feedback, okay? So let's assume that you all have a rubric in front of you, imaginary rubric. And you had these 4 categories. Highly effective, effective, somewhat effective, not effective. Where would you assess me based on this opening?
Highly effective.
All right, don't just say it because I'm here. Y'all for real? All right, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So, for those who do not know me, my name is Sarfo-Mensah, and I am one of the AIELOC Fellows for this academic year. And I know this is day 2 of our conference in person, but for those who are coming in for the first time today, welcome to Hanoi, if this is your first time. And this is your first time at the school, welcome to UNIS Hanoi. So, yeah. Before I get started and share some early reflections and some other things, I want to give a shout out to UNIS Hanoi because they have been phenomenal hosts for all of us. Shout out to the teachers, shout out to the faculty, shout out to the support staff, shout out to every student ambassador that's come through. Yes, here for the students. When we're doing a conference that's about centering the humanity of children, you gotta put children at the center. And that doesn't mean in our presentations, but in every aspect of what we do. Whether it's having a BIPOC student group up here, sharing their stories and counter stories, okay? Because it's not just about pain, it's not just about despair, it's not just about trauma, it's also about joy. It's also about possibilities. It's also about manifestation of a different world that they want to live in and be not just existing, but be thriving, and also be seen, heard, and affirmed. If y'all feel that, give me some finger snaps. Let me get some finger snaps, because open mic, right? Yeah, like a speakeasy. Come on now. There we go. But thank you, UNIS Hanoi. Y'all been phenomenal, and I've personally enjoyed my time here. In spite of the jet lag, I'm persistent because of y'all, so thank you. Just want to share some early reflections. I don't want to monopolize too much of the time because it is open mic. I want to make sure we give people an opportunity to share, unpack, and just be in community with everybody. But there were a couple things that I wanted to point out that really resonated with me over these first couple of days. The first thing was, I think what we saw today. I think we can all agree that the UNIS student of color affinity group who was up here earlier today, if you got some melanin like myself, you felt what they were talking about. You went back to your childhood. I went back to my 13-year-old self when I was going to school in Ghana, and my parents brought me there because that's my home. That's my home, regardless of where I was socialized and everything. That was my place where I felt like I could be myself. But I also felt some of the ostrich. I'm not even gonna try that word, I'm too tired. I also felt some of the distance. I'll just say distance from some of my colleagues, right? Some of my peers. And I still talk to them to this day, but for me, being there at 13 years old, not being able to speak my home language because it wasn't taught to me. You know, my parents came to the States when I was, they came to the States in the late 60s, early 70s. You know, at a time, you know, right after Martin Luther King got assassinated. So you have to think, this is like really at the height of the civil rights movement. And they're coming straight out of high school from Ghana. trying to start a new life in the United States. And then, of course, many years later, I was born, my brother was born, my sister, and everybody else. And I always think about, like, why? Especially now that I'm a father and a husband, and I got 2 little boys, 2 black boys. I want to make sure I name that, who have Ghanaian ancestry. They also have Bayesian ancestry. They have Panamanian ancestry. So I want to make sure I shout out my Caribbean folks as well. Okay? Hey! What that guan? Okay. But I wanna name that because when they were sharing their stories, they were speaking for me. They were speaking through me. They were speaking to me as an educator. I don't care what preposition you put in there, they were speaking to different people. And that's the whole point. Regardless of what your vantage point is, whether you are considering yourself an ally, whether you're considering yourself somebody who is a supporter of young people, whatever role that you believe you play in this grand scheme of dismantling white supremacy in our schools, they were talking to all of us. And if we didn't take anything from what they shared, if we didn't take anything from the vulnerability they expressed up here, then guess what? All we're doing is just intellectualizing their trauma and their pain. And we already do enough of that in our society. We know what the issues are. The literature tells us what the issues are. Academics tell us what the issues are. You can go on the internet right now and Google everything you need to know about what's going on in international schools, in any school system. Now is the time to make it actionable. We gotta translate that to action. If we ain't about that life, if we not about that life, then guess what? We don't need to be doing this work. If you're not about that life, if you don't understand that when we talk about radical dreaming, if it's radical, it requires risk. So what I mean by risk, yes, you might jeopardize losing your job. You might jeopardize your livelihood, what allows you to feed your family. That's real. But guess what? You don't want this to sit in your conscience. You don't want this to sit deep in the psyches of your soul. So you have to make a decision. And I think, if I speak for everybody here, I think the decision is we're going to do what we need to do to fight for students to be human, regardless of what their identity is, regardless of how those different markers intersect, right? But I want to just share a couple things I've noticed in my tour of UNIS Hanoi. So there's this one class I went to, and I can't remember the man's name to save my life. Okay, Whitney, you gotta help me out. Okay, Stefan, right? So I'm going to this global studies classroom. And for those who were with me in that tour, man, y'all saw what I saw. As soon as I walked in, I turned to my left. I see Kwame Nkrumah on the left. And it's not just a picture. Like, I had to walk up there and there was a newspaper collage of articles about Kwame Nkrumah. Now, I told y'all where I'm from, right? Where am I from? Ghana. So what do we know about Kwame Nkrumah? He's the first president of Ghana. Ghana's the first country to gain independence in Sub-Saharan Africa. Ghana is the epicenter when it comes to Pan-Africanism and liberation. There's a reason why we're doing, Year to Return and all these things. It didn't just happen. Ghana's always had that reputation. People are just now being late to the party. That's what it is. So to see Kwame Nkrumah up there, I said, okay, I already like this teacher. I haven't even heard him speak. And then I scanned the room, panorama style. I see a canvas of a woman, I think scantily clad, with blood just trickling down her body. So, all right, we're talking about gender rights. Okay, I'm feeling that. I'm with that. We need to talk about that. Then I see Israeli and Palestine flags, right? Got to talk about that as well, considering what's happening on the Gaza Strip, all right? We got kids still dying out there. We got to talk about that. We got to name that. And then, like, everything I saw just spoke to what AIELOC is all about. What we're about. We're about that diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice in every iteration of DIJ that you can think of. I don't care how you rearrange them letters, we all about that too. Oh man, alphabetic semantics, I tell you. But when I heard Mr. Stefan speak, he told us that he lets the kids choose, agency y'all, choose what they want to talk about. The kids go do their own research, criticality. They come back to the school, the classroom, and they have a discussion. So here's the thing. It can't be indoctrination if kids are coming with their own informed conclusions of what they're reading and researching. Come on, y'all. I gotta say that again. I gotta say that again. It can't be indoctrination if students are doing their own research, they're listening to the podcast, they're listening to the news. I don't care if it's a right wing, left wing, I don't care if it's a north wing, south wing, I don't care where it is. If they are coming to their conclusion and they're seeing what we see and they're connecting it to their own experience on this earth and saying, yo, this is wrong, then guess what? That is their truth. And it's not up to us to determine for them whether they're right or they're wrong. That's their truth. And that's the power that students have when you have agency. When you have students that are able to do that, they can rock this world. Yes. They can change whatever's going on. And that is what AIELOC is. That's a microcosm of what AIELOC is, y'all. That's what we all about. That's what this whole, well, we're not done yet, but that's what this weekend ultimately will be all about. Radical dreaming. But that means we have to be willing to make some sacrifices. We have to be willing to do some things, even when we are scared. We have to be willing to call things out. We have to be willing to call people in. We have to be willing to interrupt. With rationale, of course, but we have to be willing to do those things. There's no options at this point. How many of y'all like James Baldwin?
Yes.
How many of y'all have ever read his Talk to Teachers?
Yes.
I believe that every pre-service or in-service teacher needs to read that in its entirety because it speaks to what's happening right now. It speaks to what's happening right now. In that first paragraph, and I'm going to paraphrase, he says that we need to be prepared for the most determined and the most powerful resistance that's coming our way. He said this to us. He had the answers when he told us that. And here we are in 2024, and we're still doing this. We're seeing this resistance, but guess what? We're not stopping. I'm not stopping. I know y'all not stopping. So let's make sure that we're mindful of that. Now, some levity now. Let's have some levity to the situation. I've been talking real deep. Now let's lighten it up a little bit. So this is open mic, right? Yeah. Typically with an open mic, you probably have some candles. Probably got some, soft music. I'll probably come up here with Dashik, talking about some, hey sister, you're the effervescence of essence in my life. Let me stop. No, but that's all y'all getting. Okay. So before I went to bed, I was thinking to myself, how am I going to engage this awesome teacher community in this open mic? I don't know if people are shy. I don't know if people are bold. I would assume that we have a mixture of both. So here's what I did. When in doubt, what do we do in 2024? We go to ChatGPT. And that's exactly what I did. So guess what? Can I indulge y'all in some of the ideas ChatGPT told me? Would y'all like to hear some of these ideas? Okay, now mind you, ChatGPT is as smart as we type the prompts, right? So you gotta make sure you put the right words in to kind of steer in the direction you want it to go. All right. Yes. So I'm not even playing, yo. I went in there and I typed it in. Okay, here's the prompt. I did like 3 variations of it. So here's one of them. What are some activities that encourage crowd participation during an open mic? Here's what ChatGPT said. Interactive polls. Pose questions related to education or teaching styles and use audience response systems or raise hands for participation. That ain't it. All right, next one. Quick challenges. Incorporate short challenges or trivia related to education, encouraging attendees to participate and showcase their knowledge. Well, gee, what are the main indicators of that? How am I supposed to assess that, right? Let's see. All right, there were some that were actually halfway decent. All right, check this one out. Collaborative storytelling. Listen to what it says. Start a story and invite different teachers to contribute a sentence or two, creating a collaborative narrative. What y'all think? Yeah. That sounds good, right? Okay, we're gonna bookmark that one. Okay, oh, this is a good one right here. Oh, 2 truths and a lie. Oh, here's the kicker, guys. Education edition. All right, what does it say? Participants share 2 true and 1 false statement about their teaching experiences, and the audience guesses the lie. Looks like we're going in an upward trajectory, huh? All right, I got one more. I ain't reading all these. Here's one that I think is probably the funniest one. Educational charades. Okay, we got some promise here. I hear some laugh. Incorporate a round of educational charades where participants act out teaching scenarios or concepts for others to guess. I don't know about y'all, but that's my favorite one. All right, so those are some of the ideas that ChatGPT said. And here's my conclusion to all this. ChatGPT don't be getting out that much. No? All right. So, but in all seriousness, so look, because it's open mic, I want to make sure I am modeling free agency for you all, right? I'm just here to just get everybody going, give y'all a few laughs, but ultimately, This is about you all having the opportunity to share anything that's in your heart, right? I'm not saying you gotta share a whole book about your experience here, because we don't got that type of time. We don't got that type of time. I don't. I told you I got here at 3 a.m. in the morning. So brevity is going to be crucial for this open mic. So if you want to come up, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be a creative representation of what you do. It doesn't have to be a poem or comedy or rap or a dance routine. Like, we're not going to do all that. It could be as simple as you coming up here and sharing your truth about how this conference so far, because we still got a day to go, has impacted you personally, right? Well, it's all about radical dreaming. So what are the possibilities that you see? What are you envisioning in your respective school communities where you are geographically, right? So if there's anybody, a brave soul, I feel like telling people to come to the altar, you know. There's somebody, brave soul, who wants to stand before the congregation to share their truth about the AIELOC Conference so far after 2 days. Just come on down. I'll pass the mic and then we just keep it going.